Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll try to find answers to the questions on how biotechnology can help us fight hunger. Can biotechnology help us to make food more affordable and reduce the hunger in the world? If the answer is yes, why some of us are still against this idea? Watch till the end of the video to know more. If you are a new subscriber, please hit the subscribe button below to be part of the community. Hunger has been a worldwide phenomenon, and humanity has been fighting against poverty and hunger since the beginning. A nation is said to be prosperous if the citizens have food on their table, if no citizen goes to bed empty stomach. So that is one of the vital parameters of any prosperous country. In our country and many countries around the world, especially the developing and the poor countries, there are a lot of people who are hungry right now. If you look at some of the stats, it's appalling because a child dies every 10 seconds due to hunger or the effects of hunger. During COVID times, when the economies are not doing good and people have lost their jobs and the global trade is in shambles, hunger is coming up like anything. It is the topic which we should talk about, which we should not shy away. The next catastrophe is going to be hungry people who are dying without proper nutrition and food. How biotechnology can help us? Something that we talked about last time in one of our earlier videos. If you want to know about what is biotechnology, you can always click on the I button above and know completely about what is biotechnology, features which are involved in that, what are the different supporting technologies. Now, very particularly, we should talk about the GM. In other words, genetically modified crops. Now, this is very important because of genetically modified crops, the overall crop production have got a boost. We'll talk about some of the stats around it shortly, but why this is happening? Primarily, there are two reasons. Number one, the GM crops are more resistant to diseases, to the plant diseases. In terms of the stats, 20 to 40% of the crop production are lost. So genetically modified crops actually reduces that loss. Number two, genetically modified crops generally take shorter time to mature, and so you can harvest it faster. Currently, the world population is 7.8 billion. If we look at the future, by 2057, it will be close to 10 billion. Now, with this growing population, you simply need more crop production. Shall I say the current practices that we follow in crop production will become redundant and insufficient to provide us with enough crop production, with enough food to eat. So there is a requirement to use technology, biotechnology, to increase our production, the crop production, exponentially. That's the only way out. I know there have been questions. I know people are not happy about it. It's not healthy. It is to be noted that over 690 million people do not have enough food to eat. Around 2 billion people suffer from malnutrition. By 2050, the world population will be nearing 9.7 billion. To match up that kind of population, we need to increase our crop production by 119%. As a result, crop production would require technology's help. You will ask why we're talking about it. Let's look at the facts. Now, if we see the total percentage of land, the agriculture enabled land, which is under GM crops, are quite low at this point of time. But even with that percentage, if you look at the impact it has made, is phenomenal. If you look at the period between 1996 to 2016, crop yield has increased by over 370 million tons. I'm not saying because this is the increment in crop production and this is all hunky-dory, it's all good. There are definitely some issues, some questions which needs to be answered, but this does not mean that we have any other way out. And we know that the genetically modified crops have been plagued by diseases, by a lot of issues in terms of health and also its environmental impact. So much so that there are a lot of countries which are against the genetically modified crops. Say, for example, if you talk about Europe and even Middle East, they don't support genetically modified crops as such. But the fundamental problem is, since the current agriculture practices are not good enough to sustain, to have that kind of increment in the production. So we will have to go to this route sooner or later. So what is the way out? How can we do that? Shall we accept diseases which comes along with the GM food? What shall we do? I think the answer lies on how we are going to bring more stricter laws and make this technology better. Number one is, there are a lot of seed companies and they don't put too much emphasis on the quality of seed. The second point is to bring stricter laws and more governance for the GM crops and the seeds, so that we know that whatever is going to ultimately in the market, which is getting commercialized and sold to the public, are of best quality. And I'm hopeful and I'm certain that once humanity progresses, once we do more research, when technology gets better, we are going to have genetically modified crops which would not be lesser in quality, but would be a lot better than natural crop. At the end, I know there is a long way to go. We have started taking the first step, and in the future, the coming 50 years are going to be very crucial. Biotechnology is going to prosper. Thank you, friends, for giving your time.